The Kashari delegation had arrived on Earth 3 months ago, their scaled emerald bodies gleaming under the artificial lights of the Unity Station. They came bearing promises of technological advancement, cultural exchange, and a path to the stars. Hassan had been skeptical from the beginning. Something's off about them, he whispered to Elsa as they watched the Kashari ambassador address the crowd in the Grand Hall. His dark eyes tracked the aliens' movements, too fluid, too calculated. The way they smile never reaches their eyes. Elsa adjusted her translator earpiece, her blonde hair pulled back in a tight bun. As a xenoanthropologist, she'd studied 17 different alien species, but the Kashari unsettled her in ways she couldn't articulate. Their social structure is unusual. They keep mentioning the collective but won't explain what it means. That conversation had led them here 3 weeks later, standing outside a converted warehouse in the industrial district. The building pulsed with a low-frequency hum that made Hassan's teeth ache. Through careful investigation and a few well-placed bribes, they'd discovered that certain humans had been attending secretive gatherings with the Kashari. Gatherings the aliens adamantly denied existed. Ready? Hassan asked, checking the hidden camera embedded in his jacket button. Elsa nodded, her heart hammering against her ribs. They'd spent days preparing false identities, memorizing Kashari customs and learning the correct submissive postures. Whatever was happening inside, humanity needed to know. The door opened before they could knock. A Kashari guard, taller than the diplomats they'd seen on television, regarded them with vertical slit pupils that seemed to see straight through their deception. But then it stepped aside, gesturing them inward with a 3-fingered hand. The interior was dim, lit by bioluminescent orbs that cast everything in shades of green and blue. Approximately 30 humans sat in concentric circles around a raised platform where 3 Kashari stood. The humans' eyes had a glazed quality, their faces slack with an expression that reminded Elsa of religious ecstasy. "Welcome, Seekers," one of the Kashari said in perfect English, its forked tongue flickering between words. "You have come to learn the truth of humanity's place in the cosmos." Hassan and Elsa took seats in the outer circle, trying to blend in. The Kashari on the platform began to speak, its voice taking on a rhythmic, hypnotic quality. It spoke of humanity's flaws, their violence, their tribalism, their inability to unite even in the face of extinction. It spoke of the Kashari's superiority, their ancient civilization, their perfect social harmony. "But you can evolve," the alien continued. "Through submission to the collective, through acceptance of your inferiority, you can find purpose. You can serve." Elsa felt bile rise in her throat. This wasn't cultural exchange, it was indoctrination. She glanced at Hassan and saw her own horror reflected in his face. The ceremony continued for hours. The Kashari used a combination of subsonic frequencies, pheromone-based chemicals, and psychological manipulation techniques to break down the humans' resistance. Elsa recognized elements from her studies. Cult recruitment tactics refined over centuries, now weaponized with alien biotechnology. Then came the revelation that would haunt her forever. "Some of you are ready," the lead Kashari announced. "Ready to take the final step. Ready to become truly useful to the collective." 5 humans stood, moving with mechanical precision toward the platform. The Kashari produced devices that looked like silver collars, fixing them around each person's neck. The devices activated with a soft click, and something fundamental changed in those humans' eyes. The last spark of individual will vanished, replaced by blank obedience. "Neural control collars," Hassan breathed, barely audible. "They're turning them into slaves." But it was worse than slavery. As the newly collared humans began to speak, Elsa realized they were being used as living transmitters. Through them, the Kashari were mapping human psychology, cataloging weaknesses, identifying how to subjugate the entire species most efficiently. "Earth thinks we come in peace," one Kashari said to another in their own language, apparently unaware that Elsa's translator could pick it up. "They welcomed us because they're desperate, divided, dying. When the harvest fleet arrives, there will be no unified resistance. These early converts will help us identify leaders to eliminate an infrastructure to capture intact." The word harvest sent ice through Elsa's veins. She and Hassan exchanged glances. They had to leave, had to warn someone, had to expose this before it was too late. But the Kashari guard had moved to block the exit. "You two," the lead Kashari said, its gaze fixing on them with predatory focus. You don't smell like believers. You smell like fear and deception. Hassan moved first. Years of military training took over as he grabbed one of the bioluminescent orbs and hurled it at the guard, plunging the room into darkness. Elsa ran, Hassan right behind her as chaos erupted. The controlled humans moved to intercept them, but their movements were stiff, unpracticed with the collars. They burst through the exit into the cool night air, sprinting toward their vehicle. Behind them, Kashari hisses echoed in the darkness. Did you get it all? Elsa gasped as Hassan gunned the engine. Every second, he confirmed, touching the camera button. But Elsa, if they're already this embedded, if they have this many people under control, then we're already at war, she finished grimly. We just didn't know it yet. As they raced toward the military base where Hassan's old commander would listen to their evidence, Elsa looked up at the stars. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries, had imagined benevolent aliens who would guide them to enlightenment. Instead, they'd met predators who saw them as resources to be exploited and minds to be enslaved. But the Kashari had made one critical miscalculation. They'd underestimated humanity's most dangerous trait, not their violence or tribalism, but their stubborn refusal to submit. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't bow easily, and when threatened with extinction, they became the most relentless fighters in the cosmos. The cult would fall, the Kashari would learn, and humanity would survive as it always had through sheer defiant will. The end.